That's searching for coins. That's anything. I mean, uh, babysitting, you could make a living, being, anything you like to do. So that's really what the niche is all about. And that would be if you put those principles to your happiness or anything, you would find that it would do more. What do you think? That
I
what we're
think we're live. I figured I'd just say a few things and you just keep rambling. So,
Oh, I didn't think we were live.
yeah,
Sorry,
we're
guys.
live.
I was just talking to Scott. Usually we talk a while before we start a meeting just because we want to know what we're going to be talking about. And today we're talking about happiness, is on my
Well,
on
the
my
actual title is Five Tiny Actions That Can Create Massive Change: The Psychology of Getting Unstuck.
well,
I
the
think
first
you went over five before you went live.
so the major one is I would say ask yourself. You see, it's about you. What do you want? I mean, whatever that is, and then you have kind of in we could do the well-formed outcome on this. The well-formed outcome can tell you what do you want, and then how will you know when you get it? Do you have the resources to get it? Are you going to be able to do it? Do you need other people to help you do it? All these things come into play, and that could be with your happiness. Are you going to be content only by yourself? Maybe, you want friendship, so you go find what
Well,
kind of. Go
why
ahead.
don't you talk about the primals? Was the like, and then you worry about everything after that, right? Like shelter,
Oh
food.
yeah. Well, in theory, we wouldn't probably be talking about this if you're in the middle of a war zone. Pretty much the first thing you want to do is survive. That's survival mode, and that's fight, flee, freeze. Just freeze, fight, freeze. I just said it wrong, but anyway, you flee, or you freeze, or you fight. So that where most of the people aren't there, but if you are there, then do that
Yeah,
and
we're just going
figure
to
out
assume everybody is
it's not
not in a
there.
war zone. And if you are, don't be
Right.
watching this video.
Yeah, go do what's more important. You know, you have to figure out what's most important in your life. So anyway, besides
I guess the first tiny action
yeah, if
step
you
would
don't
be to
have your
get,
primals, let's just say that. If you don't have your primals, work on your primals
we're going
first.
to assume everybody's not in a war zone and
Yeah, and
ready to take on the world,
and
right?
we're going to assume that you have enough to eat and we're going to assume this is what we're going to assume you live under some kind of shelter, you have enough food, and every day you get up and you don't have the worry that you're going to die that day.
Okay.
Okay.
So now that we have the primals taken care of, what
Okay.
are some tiny, small steps? I would say the first one would be to write out what you want and get clear on.
Yeah, I like that. And also be positive about it. You know, uh,
Yeah,
have a good
proactive.
outlook, and the other thing is believe it can happen. If you don't believe it, you're not going to be able to achieve it more than likely. So write down something that's believable. Saying I want $1 billion tomorrow is probably not achievable by tomorrow. Okay, so write out goals that are realistic, that could happen. Not that they could be a little higher. You have to reach for them, but not so high that they're unobtainable. Like
Well, you definitely want to celebrate your wins along the way. So
exactly.
having a large goal and then understanding your wins as you get to that large goal.
Well,
It's
that's why you make all the little small goals on the way.
and write them out, get clear about them. And it would make most sense if that there was meaning behind it, right? So talk to a lot of people in coaching calls. I just want money. Well, what are you doing to help somebody else get to the next step? What's fulfilling about that? And if you got the money, you know, what does that really do? And if you had it all, would you just give up, not do anything once you had it? Like, it's more fulfilling to help people along the way when you have a goal, of getting to where you want to go. Because as Wayne Dyer says, right, you help enough people get what they want, then you'll end up getting what you want.
That's Zig
And
Ziglar.
Zig Ziglar,
Zig Ziglar says, help enough people get what you want, and you'll get
get
what you
what
want.
they get,
Wayne
help enough people
Dyer,
get what
the
they
one
want.
I always go with Wayne Dyer is basically change the way you look at things, and the things you look at will change. So, what we want to do today is figure out, making our goals, but also understanding our wins and the understanding really write it out and see if this is what you want. Ask yourself, is this really what I want? Because a lot of people believe they want something and they go towards it and they find that's not what they wanted at all. It's the same thing with the money thing. It's not what money is because money is just paper. It means nothing. What does that money do for us? What will that do for you? And if you want to find out, break it down, is keep on asking yourself, what would that do for? What would money do for you? Well, it'd give me freedom. What would freedom do for you? Well, it'd make me not worry about. What would not worrying about? Bring it down to the smallest. And if you keep on getting to the same place, that's probably where you want to be to start working on what you want.
So first two things, right? Write down what you want
Mhm.
and celebrate your wins.
Okay. And what you see with make a time zone. How many years or how long do you think it's going to take to get where you want? And then you can map it back. What did it take to get there? That's another good little
And
piece.
then you can go forward too,
Yeah.
like smaller steps forward. Like in a month I'll have this certification. 2 months from now I'll have my first client. 6 months from now I'll have an agency, right? And then work your way up and then basically calibrate. Like, oh, that didn't work out. What do I
Mhm.
need to do to double time to get on that? And then understanding that the path may not be what you thought it was when you started out. So,
Right.
and as you get there, you'll be like, oh, this makes more sense. Why don't I just do this? You know?
That's where we throw in wheels in motion kind of thing. Even if you went the wrong direction, you're still going and you still have momentum. Just turn around, come back to find it. And, because just like when we bring the examples up, just like a plane, it's never on 100% course. It has to make minor adjustments to get where it has to do. And same way with a boat. A boat's not just going to go through a huge rock to prove that it's just going on a straight path. No, he's going to go around it and not break the boat, or sink, And then the other thing with that, with the boat kind of example, save yourself first, just like you would save yourself on a plane so you could help the other people. In the same way with the boat, you put the life jacket on you so you can help the people around you. Because if you can't save yourself, you're not going to be able to save the people around you. This is where the caregivers get in trouble. Caregivers, a lot of caregivers care for other people, but they care so much. They usually die, not always, but a lot of times they die before the person they're caring for because they take the burden. And you can see a lot of them don't take care of themselves. So we really want to also, on the way to wherever you want to be, take care of yourself on the way and stop negative self-talk. That's one of the biggest things for happiness. If you can stop saying how terrible, or if you are saying that, if you're saying that, the, we need we encourage you. We don't put those need, ought to, or should, but we
Well,
encourage you to change the attitude of, um, you know,
well, if you're hard on yourself, that also could be a motivator to do better.
no, I'm not saying you shouldn't be hard. Okay, what I say to people, be your own best friend. Yes, push yourself hard enough that you'll get your stuff done, yet not so hard that you'll just break up the friendship. So push yourself hard, yeah, because we want you to get somewhere, but don't beat yourself so hard that you hate yourself. Go
So,
ahead.
yeah, I was about to say, that's part of parts negotiation. Sometimes you could be hard on yourself and not realizing how hard you are when you haven't sat down to find out what the negative voice is trying to get positive for you. So if you just stop in the tracks and find out what's the real message here, because that was my biggest thing when I was going through my parts negotiation, is that I was so hard on myself because I built somebody else up and then I had nowhere else to go, because I was like, oh man, look what you did. You gave this guy all this power, and now if he decides not to give you any work, now what are you going to do? And that was the voice, right? So I had to stop and be like, okay, well, we did this. What can we do together to get something else? But I was also hard on myself 15, 20 years saying something like that. And it didn't start off that potent. It started off with, well, okay, well, he screwed you over this time. Just kind of knock that, write that down so you don't forget about it. Oh, you got screwed over this time. And then it got to the point where you're going to keep letting this happen to you? Like, I'm like, are you going to do something about this? Because what if it gets to the point where you have nothing? And that was my biggest motivator. Well, and then I said, well, I helped build this guy's company. You think you could do it on your own? And my other part was like, yeah, of course you could do it on your own. But you have to tell this other guy to go screw off because you're not going to have any time to build your own thing. And if you're man enough to tell the other guy to screw off, then I could get back behind you and then get to work. So these are two different of my personalities talking to each other. So I guess an action step would be is check in with your self-talk. What is it really telling you? Are you too hard on yourself? Or maybe you need to be that hard on yourself to move forward. And if you need some help with that in a coaching session to figure out more, then we know we can help open up those doors for you. Because I used to go to a psychologist and I was telling them about all these things in psychology. They just wanted to analyze and keep talking about the problem. And it was like, well, this is great. We could talk about this all day long. I've done this already inside my head multiple times. How do I get out of here? Like, and he didn't even know. Like, he just wanted to talk about the problem. And I was like, well, what are the solutions? So I had to go to NLP to get solutions. Now, so there's something else to keep in mind. That's not really an action. It could be an action step that you start today is that you start, talking to your inner self like better communication, because sometimes your subconscious mind wants to talk to you and then you haven't like interpreted properly or looked at different ways. And when you learn something like sight of mouth, you can then have conversations with yourself that are like go into 16 at least different patterns. And that's what I do with myself all day. Oh, this new information came in. Okay, well, where could it go? 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 Like, like literally this the other day, I had a bride call me up like the night before on a Saturday in a panic, right? Oh my God, I'm gonna need two microphones for the ceremony, and the wedding venue told me that I had to call you. I just put it off, and I'm like in a panic. And I know the wedding venue. Like the guy knows me. Like I've set up. We've accomplished this many times. So part of the 16 different conversations I had was, oh, is this guy trying to sabotage me? Or is this guy trying to put fear into the bride? Like, is he trying to control somebody? Or is he just that freaking stupid? Like, I couldn't figure it out. So I ended up letting it go and I called my DJ and say, hey, look, this is the situation. Just make sure you have it handled. And then we can let all those other avenues play out somewhere else. We just got to get through this event. And a really important action step you can do today is find somebody who's already done the path that you want to accomplish. Study what they did, study the steps, and you can take similar steps. They probably have a few ideas of where they've screwed up that you can learn from, and yet take that with a grain of salt as you start to build your own thing.
The very basic of that, you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna at one point you're gonna make it your own, whatever that is. If you're changing, if you have a new business, I would say personalize whatever you're gonna do, because when you personalize what you're doing, you have more investment in it, and then in happiness, if you find your purpose and meaning, pretty much everything else falls into place. So if you can find what your purpose in life is, I'm not saying this is easy, but or meaning, what do you want in the meaning it gives you and the purpose you got, then you can live everything in your life towards those meaning and purposes. And a lot of times you'll veer off, just like on a boat or a plane, but we come back to center, and that's where we want to be most of the time. Now, yes, we can say, oh man, that wasn't a very smart move. Yeah, we don't want to call ourselves stupid. We want to say, oh yeah, so we made some here and there. We didn't do the smartest thing at that time, yet we learned from it. So now we have a learning experience. So being hard on yourself, just again, like Scott was saying, we don't want to not be hard on ourselves, not get our stuff done, yet we don't want to be so hard that we give up on ourselves or we give up on something because we're too hard on ourselves. And when you make a so-called somebody say mistake in your company, I bet Scott and I both, all those mistakes we said at one time were mistakes, were just learning experience. Like I only do rain or shine events now for my company. Every time something happened, it was a learning experience. Here's another example. I've been studying coins and coin shops and people buying money. Um, But you might not know this, and a lot of people probably don't even know it because it's not on the radar. But when people go in to buy or sell coins, there's thousands of fake coins out there. There's thousands of fake bars of gold and silver. If you don't know that and you buy one of those off the eBay or something, and you just got screwed because a lot of those coins, if they're selling you silver and you got a magnet that sticks to it, it's not silver. Well, these are things you learn, but these would be the same thing with what I learned, I don't know, 40, 30 years, 39 years ago or something. Uh, if if there's a place that's going to be muddy and stuff and it's going to rain and you're going to be rained out and you got another gig that's in a perfect condition, go with the one that's perfect condition. But you never always have that. But now we don't even do if it's not a rain or shine because I don't want to cancel my people and their whole weekend because a lot of our money is on the weekend for entertainers such as me. Maybe not so much Scott's business, but my business is like 80% on Saturday and Sunday. Go ahead. You know what I mean? I mean,
Gonna
so
keep going.
blah, 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 blah. But what the point was, we live and learn. We live and learn, and whatever. And we started out. What five things can make you happy or get you on the way? One, we're going to write down what we're going to do. The second thing is we're going to figure out where we're wanting to go. Or you can do that first. Really, first is figuring out where you want to go, then write it down, and then are there any obstacles are going to get in your way, and then start small and just keep on going. Keep that momentum going. Go
So
ahead.
basically, quick recap, write out what you want, uh, and then write out, 3 actions you're going to take today to do each thing that you want. Or maybe have one large goal and you'll write down 3 things that you'll do, for that one large goal. And then when you cross those off, do 3 things again tomorrow, 3 things again the next day, and that'll be compound interest. So keep that in mind. And then as you go down the road, you'll probably get a little clearer on what it is as you start to go down that road. And then maybe your actions may change, right? Fork in the road, decided to go that way. So write it out. And then, there's a video we have on the YouTube channel, which has the well-formed outcome, which will help you get clearer on whatever the goal is. And it doesn't matter what the goal is. Anybody watching it, can, use that model to get where they want to go. So number one, are you writing it down? Number two, write down the actions. Number three, celebrate small wins. Even if you've never done anything towards the goal, but you made one small step, I mean, that's a win. And then that'll only gain momentum as you do more things. I have an app that I started, and $13,000 later, it's finally ready for me to start testing and sending to, clients, leads. It's finally ready for me to, I just paid for someone to do the marketing images. So I'll have that out pretty soon. Yet when I started, I was a $10,000 bill. It could have been a $20,000 bill. So the first step that I did was sit down with 3 different people and decide which avenue would be the best to go. So again, celebrate your wins, take action towards your goals, wheels in motion. As long as you're moving, then you're
Positive attitude. Let's still in positive attitude.
positive attitude. As long as you're moving along, there's going to be some bumps, probably some
Even
bugs.
even when there's bumps, just understand there's a thing that you can say, this this too shall pass. This too, everything in your life has passed if you're still here. So this too shall pass. So it might seem really, really weird or angry or just terrible at one point that you made a mistake or you didn't do what exactly you wanted to do. And you can take that and then just say to yourself, I can flip that to a positive. Now I know what I need to do that's not that. So, when you get in that slump or whatever, flick it around and say, I'm happy to be here. I
And
mean,
just remember,
okay.
if you take a loss, you're going to take more losses than anybody around you because you're putting yourself out there. You're taking more chances. So therefore, you'll probably have more losses than some other people who play it safe kind of thing. So not everybody will be brave enough to do the things that need to be done to get to where you want to go. So, and no one else is going to do it for you. So remember that too. Um,
There's a good
uh,
saying here to throw in right there is the things you do today will reap, what you sow today will reap the benefits uh, down the road.
and the good news about that is that you can plant seeds everywhere. Just keep
Right.
planting seeds. You don't know what's going to grow. Just keep planting them. Oh, look, there's some flowers over there. Let me go see what that's about. That was one of the things I learned from Frank Kern. He's like, "Oh, I used to do this one thing and it made me a ton of money. Then, of course, I was so smart. I went and did something else and lost a bunch of money. Like, just stick with what works." So yeah, if you find something that you like to do and can make money at it, just keep doing that. If you're looking to break the mold, and well, just remember there's learning curves with that too. Model and modify. Again, find someone who's done what you're looking to do, and then ask, pick their brain. There's tons of people on YouTube, explaining how they got to where they at, because what else is there? YouTube will live forever, and when someone passes, they'll at least have their videos and their legacy. The more videos I post, I don't think, I'm sure my daughter's going to outlive me, so there'll be plenty of videos for her to watch, And then, what does this say? I wrote this down. Save yours if first. Oh, I should have wrote that better.
Now, save yourself first.
Oh, save yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, save
Save
yourself
yourself
first.
first.
Just like on a boat or a plane. Use the air mask because you've got to survive to help the people around you, and you've got to not drown when you're drowning. And there's another thing to throw in here. Sometimes it's okay to ask for help when you need help because we can't, not everybody can do everything in the world. So if you can find people who can help you on your way, it's not only that, and happiness, you know, having friends is one of the number one keys to happiness. Having friends and communicating with others. Because if you don't have that, now, I'm not saying everybody, this is not a universal qualifier, but in general, people are much happier when they have friends and family that they can deal with. And sometimes your family is not your friend anymore. So, and I'm not taking away family or friends, but just like I said before, scale on this plus or minus, and every time you get off the phone with them, how do you feel? So, some of this is about feelings, you know.
All
You don't
right.
have
Well,
to.
I'm going to just go ahead and stop the live stream here. We've been on there for
Okay,
quite a bit, and I like to keep those short. So
good,
I'll go
good to
ahead.
see everyone.
Yeah. Make sure to follow, like, subscribe, and if